Welcome to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer. Today's guest is Bill Goodwin. Bill is a powerhouse of leadership, resilience, and inspiration. With more than 30 years of experience growing and empowering individuals and teams, Bill brings proven leadership training and dynamic personal growth-driven speaking to every stage and conversation. A speaker, coach, and trainer with the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, Bill has been mentored by none other than the leadership legend and best-selling author John C. Maxwell. He is also the founder of Priority Living Consulting Group, a leadership development company dedicated to helping people elevate their influence, purpose, and impact. Bill is the author of Priority Living, 7 Pillars to Make Your Life Count, and he truly lives what he teaches. So welcome to the podcast, Bill.
I am so honored to be with you, Peggy. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this since we first connected.
Yes, I am too. I'm looking forward to this conversation because you have a wonderful story to back up everything that you are doing. So, with that, can you start the conversation by sharing just a little bit more about your personal journey and how it has led to where you are today?
Oh, absolutely. Really it starts back when I was a teenager, when I was 15, 16, 17. I have an uncle, my Uncle Tom, who was an entrepreneur with my Aunt Carolyn. They lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they were small business owners, quite successful. But my Uncle Tom took an interest in seeing potential in me and began to teach me about personal growth, leadership development, began to mentor me, began to introduce me to Zig Ziglar. This goes back in the 80s, so it kind of dates
Yep,
me a little bit. It was cassette tapes
yep.
and books with Zig Ziglar and Og Mandino and other great personal development people. And so my uncle really started to help me see that the future is bright if I make it bright,
Mhm.
and that the mindset and the way that I carry myself with my attitude and my outlook could make all the difference. So that's kind of where things started for me. That didn't become a career at that point, of course, but it began my journey of personal development, which I'm on that road for literally decades.
Yeah.
And then I went into ministry as a young person. I really felt led to help teenagers. So I became a youth pastor and served at a couple of wonderful churches, both in Minnesota and in Arizona, and really made a difference in the lives of teenagers as I was continuing to grow myself as a leader. And then had the opportunity, wasn't looking for it, came up unexpectedly to become a lead pastor of a church, which I'm so grateful that I had the privilege to serve that congregation for 18 years. And then along the way, met John Maxwell. And that was an incredible day, a life-changing day for me when I was introduced to John at a gathering of about 30 or so people that got to spend the day with John. And that was the point that I learned about the Maxwell Leadership Team. And it took a little bit of time for me to get my life in the right situation when I could join and be mentored by John. But then that came about, and that's when Priority Living started, my company. So we're coming up on 5 years in 2026 of that journey of being mentored by John, as well as having my consulting company called Priority Living. And but just over 3 years ago, I made the transition out of full time vocational ministry, and what I do now full time is Priority Living. I serve a ministry group as well, and I also I do keynote speaking and coaching, and love what I get to do to add value to leaders and equip people. So that's all part of my journey, and there's more to share there, but that's kind of gives you a quick snapshot of kind of my backstory.
Yeah, I mean, how wonderful that you had an uncle that just introduced you to personal growth and
Mm-hmm.
mindset stuff because we don't get enough of that. And to be able
Mm-hmm.
to have that experience starting out as a teenager, oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about how our world would be a little bit different if a lot of kids were introduced to that early.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really comes down, Peggy, to two questions that if we're having a great podcast conversation, if we just got together for a cup of coffee
Mhm.
and our friend who's listening in there too, and I'd ask these two questions. What are you doing to grow yourself? And what are you doing to grow others?
Mhm.
You see, the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better is if we're growing ourselves today. And part of growing ourselves then is being a river, not a reservoir. A reservoir just grows ourselves for ourselves, but a river says, I'm growing myself because now I have something to give to others. And my uncle was one of those people who was not only growing himself, but he was looking for how can he make a difference in the lives of others. And
Mhm.
so I've really taken that on myself in wanting to be that river, not a reservoir, and pass it along to those I come in contact with.
That's great. And then, what's sticking in my head right now is like, so what do priority living? Like, how did you
Mhm.
come up with that name? Like, what does that mean? And like, because I'm thinking, yeah, I want my priorities. Family is one of them, but we
Mhm.
can go in so many different directions. How do we live, with our priorities? So I've got all these questions around that, but
Yeah.
how did it come about? What's the meaning for you?
Yeah, well, it's pretty significant because of another part of my backstory that I love to share about. And it was November 23rd, 1999. Interesting enough, it was a Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Uh, Kind of feels a little bit like today when we're
Yeah.
recording this. I'm not sure when you're
Yes.
going to drop this episode, but it is a Tuesday, 2 days before
Right. It is. It
Thanksgiving today,
is.
isn't
How
it?
coincidental? I'm
So,
not sure.
yeah, right. So, but on that day, I lived in Arizona and I was driving to our church, happened to be, a large mega church where I was a youth pastor. And on the way, I took our small family dog to drop off at the groomers. And I didn't typically do that. I grew up with some allergies and some asthma like symptoms. And so I took the dog in. I was in a longer wait than I thought. And I started to have shortness of breath, an asthma attack, if you will. I went out to my car, took my inhaler. My rescue inhaler was not getting any relief, began to kind of panic. What do I do? I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And so I drove back to my house about a mile because I had this nebulizer machine that I thought, well, maybe that's what I need to do. It didn't even come to my mind to drive to the hospital, which was actually closer than my house. I went home, and again, I'm really struggling now to get air in and out. And as I went through my garage door into my home, I distinctly remember crying out a desperate prayer with the little air that I had left, by the way. And it was out loud. I said, Jesus, help me, Jesus. And my world was beginning to spin, and I was getting lightheaded, and I couldn't breathe. And I grabbed that nebulizer machine there. It happened to be in my family room, and I was shaking to put the solution in. You can kind of picture the scene. I'm on my knees,
Mhm.
just panicking. And my wife was out running some errands at the time, and my children were on a Thanksgiving break from school. Thankfully, my daughter was up in the other room, and I called out to her to call 911. And within a short time, so grateful for our first responders. The medical team arrived, the paramedics arrived, and they began to treat me. And within a very short amount of time while they were there, I blacked out. I went unconscious. And I don't remember, Peggy, the trip in the ambulance to the hospital. I don't remember that I was in the ER initially. And then when I woke up out of a medical induced coma, I was intubated in intensive care, and the time span was 9 hours different from when they came into my family room. But while I was being treated, I was unconscious, but while I was being treated in the ER, I distinctly remember my life passing before me as you
Mhm.
hear that
Mhm.
happening, and all of these images of my life with then the thought in my subconscious, I'm going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Mhm. Wow.
Most things in life, we can make a choice. What do I
Mhm.
do? At that moment, I distinctly remember having the thought, I'm going to die and there's nothing I can do about it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And at that moment, actually, I felt my spirit leave my body, and, and I was in the afterlife. I was in heaven. And for our listener that's maybe driving along or maybe on the treadmill right now listening, yes, I coded. I died on November 23rd, 1999, and I was 28 years of age at the time with a young family, and I experienced heaven, which I won't go into all that right now. But in my book that you mentioned, Priority Living: 7 Pillars to Make Your Life Count, I share the full account of what happened, what I experienced in heaven,
Mhm.
how I was resuscitated, and what happened when I woke up in intensive care. So I love sharing all of that, but even for the sake of time, just to encourage someone to maybe pick up that book.
Mhm.
But that was a pivotal, as you can imagine, life
Mhm.
changing for me. I actually so gratefully went home from the hospital 2 days later on Thanksgiving, and very very grateful. It didn't happen right away. I never thought I'd write a book. It wasn't like come up with some framework for living kind of thing. But I did have a real keen sense, Peggy, that I want to make my life count. I've been given a second chance,
Mhm.
which is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Still, it's unbelievable to me that
Yeah.
I'm still here when I really shouldn't be here. It wasn't like I had a traumatic experience, but I was okay. I had a traumatic experience and I died
Mm-hmm.
and was resuscitated. So I'm so grateful for the second chance. But I know that you don't have to die to want to make your life count, right? We all do. We all want to make a difference
Right.
in this time that we're here on this earth. So anyway, I just began to think about what are the things that I want to be intentional about. I think if I could share a key word for us is to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
What is it I want to be intentional about? And so over the last 20 plus years, I've been intentional about these seven things that I
Mm-hmm.
believe now I've created in more recent years. I've created this framework
Mm-hmm.
that's called Priority Living Framework. And it's these seven pillars, for me at least, that
Mm-hmm.
make up the priority living life. So that at the end of my life, whenever that comes the next time, I can look back and say, I've done my best to make my life count. I've been intentional to live a life of priority living. I'll add
Mm-hmm.
just one quick thing there, and that is you asked, where did the name come from? I also was invited by a business owner friend of mine who in Arizona was attending a lunch gathering, anywhere 50, I don't know, 50 to 100 people of business people once a week, by an entrepreneurial pastor who wanted to pour into business people. And so he had a lunch gathering called Priority Living. And I used to go to that with him, and he used to teach real practical things
Mm-hmm.
to apply to your life. And I can remember all those years ago, this is, gosh, 25 years ago, I remember thinking, or 20 years ago, I remember thinking, man, if I ever had my own business, I want to call it Priority Living, because I was trying to be intentional about
Mm-hmm.
the way I was living my life. So that's actually where the name came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I credit that to Tom Schrader, who ran this group all those years ago. But yeah, so that's a little bit more of my backstory, and I'll pause there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So incredible. I mean, not very many people come back.
Yeah.
And so, wow. And we get the privilege now of hearing you and
Mhm.
what you've accomplished since then, but more importantly, how you are impacting other people's lives. And that priority living, that being intentional is like sometimes we do need a wake up call, not
Mhm.
saying that we
Right,
all
right.
need to, you know, die and come back to life because that doesn't happen very often. But we all have some time in our life where there's a pivotal moment. If
Yes.
if we see it that way, that we have a decision. And I get that uh can't even think of the poet's name now, but like two roads diverged and and I
Oh
took the
yeah.
lesser one traveled, right? Um,
Hmm.
we have those paths every single day. We get to choose. And so
Hmm.
sometimes people come into our lives at different times, and we are open to receiving whatever message they have. And so that is awesome. Like priority living, that was such a great, name for that group, right? You got so
Yeah.
much value out of that. But then to be able to think and go, yes, I want to be intentional and I want to
Hmm.
live with my priorities in mind. And so
Yes.
how now are you helping people live intentionally with their priorities in mind?
Hmm. Well, I think that that's where it all starts from, is getting clarity
Mhm.
on what is important in your life. And I like to say it this way, if I can, Peggy, that
Mhm.
clarity always precedes peace.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah,
clarity,
I'm big on
yeah,
clarity's got to come
yeah,
first.
that's right. And clarity always precedes success, however you define success.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a piece of where it starts. And so for me, I help people start with purpose,
Mhm.
because when you get your purpose, when you understand your purpose, then you get clarity on moving forward with other areas and aspects of your life, including what should my priorities be so that I can be purpose aligned and live according to my purpose.
Mhm.
Mark Twain said the two greatest days in your life are the day you were born and the day you discover why. Many people, even well into adulthood, are
Mhm.
just going through the motions of life. They're just accepting their life, they're not leading their life. And when we get clear on our purpose as to why we're here, and you have a distinct purpose, you were created for a purpose.
Mhm.
You were given a set of gifts and abilities and experiences and connections and all of these ingredients that make up who you uniquely are, each person, each one of
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
And there is a distinct purpose that comes along. And so, therefore, purpose turns our passion into impact. And so, how I help people, how I come alongside people as a coach, a leadership coach, a business coach, is to help them get clear on a variety of things. And let's start with your purpose.
Mhm.
And then from there, we begin to look at your values, and your
Mhm.
values then lead to, okay, let's set priorities around your purpose and your values. And once you get that clarity, boy, things start to become so much more fulfilling. That's a key word, fulfilling in your life,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that's really an important thing. I love this. I'll share another quote with you that when the vision is clear, the options are fewer, and decisions are easy. And
Mhm.
that's from Andy Stanley. I love that. See, we got to get clear on our purpose. Is get clear vision on our purpose because
Mhm.
we're trying to do too many things. Many people are going nowhere fast,
Yeah.
but direction is more important than speed. So once we get clear on our purpose and our values and our priorities, oh my goodness, we get so much clarity that now it's easy to say, this is what I'm supposed to be investing my time and effort into. And these are
Mhm.
the things that are good things, but they're not for me, at least right now. And so I can say no to those things and not just be overwhelmed with all of the things on our calendar, but we
Mhm.
begin to live a life. I like to say build a life, not just a schedule.
Yeah.
And so that's all kind of part of how I come alongside individuals, and then that leads to teams. Like to help teams with that as well, so that they can get clarity as a team, and then ultimately become more productive and more successful.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Purpose is like everybody's searching for their purpose. And I'm just like, well, how? Like, how do you know it's your purpose? Like, how do you get clear on that? Like, what can
Mhm.
you give a few examples of how you help people get clear on on their purpose? Because I
Yeah,
think like
absolutely.
one, define it, and then it's
Mhm.
like, there's there seems to be so many options. And like,
Yeah,
what is the right purpose? What is my purpose? And so can you allude to that a little bit?
absolutely. I'd love to. So first of all, let's define purpose. Purpose is the best of what you have to help others.
Mm,
When you're living your purpose, you're giving the best of the makeup of who you are and what you have to give to other people. What we're ultimately looking for, honestly, isn't as much purpose. We're looking for fulfillment.
mhm,
And so there is this cycle that happens when I'm living and giving the best of what I have to you, Peggy, and others. I'm living out my purpose.
mhm.
But as a result of that, what comes back to me is fulfillment. That's that dopamine hit in my brain that goes, I love what I get to do. I could
Yeah,
do this all day long. I'm living in my sweet spot. All those kind of
yeah.
thoughts or things that we'd say.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
actually the results of purpose, and that we call that fulfillment.
Nice.
So how do we get clarity on our purpose? First of all, we have to realize that it's not something that we just know. So if
Mhm,
you're kind of going, well, what is my purpose? That's normal. So we have to discover it. We have to find a way to discover it. In my book, I give 10 questions that help us unpack our purpose. Can I give you
mhm.
just a couple of those questions?
Yeah,
Let
that'd
me
be
uh,
great.
let me open the book. I won't unpack these questions as I do in the book, but
Mhm,
I also define the difference in the book between purpose and passion, because sometimes we get those confused. So I kind of unpack that. But
mhm,
but I talk about things like um, it starts with simple things like, what do you enjoy doing?
mhm,
I love this. What holy discontent might you have about how things are? Meaning, there is we call it pull passion.
mhm,
That is, there's a passion in you for solving something, for fixing something, for helping with something,
mhm,
and that can be a holy discontent, which means I'm not okay that things are this way in the world. I'm going to make a difference in that, and that could be part of
mhm,
fulfilling your passion. I also believe that your purpose that also can be that your purpose is also defined in a people group.
mhm,
I really overlooked that for so long. Then I
mhm,
heard a guy say that at a conference. Sean Bolt said that at a conference. He said it this way: your destiny is actually a people group. So it could be women, it could be business people, it could be children, it could be
mhm,
people in a certain country, it could be there's a certain people group that you are most called to make a
mhm.
difference with.
Hmm.
Podcast host Ed Milet says, you are most qualified to help the person you once were. And so, those are some things. What problems are you drawn to solve? What gifts and talents do you have? What impact do you want to make in the world? All of these are types of questions that I really unpack to help people find their purpose. And
Hmm.
then in the book, there is also, here's the book, there's a QR code, and that QR code takes you to a purpose assessment, one of a kind purpose assessment that in 20 minutes for a small fee, you can get a 40 some page PDF of the results that help you understand your specific purpose. And then myself and others are coaches that help you, as purpose coaches, help you unpack your purpose. So there's a variety of ways that we find our purpose. I like to give some practical tools
Yeah.
within my book as to ways to help people get clear on their purpose.
Yeah. And what we're really, talking about when you're giving questions is that we have to stop, pause our life. If we really want to live our purpose, we have to kind of just pause. We have
Yes.
to reflect. We have to ask
Hmm.
ourselves questions. We need to take time to journal about it because these things
Hmm.
aren't like, oh, I was meant to do XYZ, like this particular
Yes.
job or something. It's not that. It's not that. I think, I love how like fulfillment comes when you're living your purpose.
Yes.
And so I think what we're really chasing, a lot of things are like, oh, purpose driven, but really it's fulfillment driven.
Yeah.
We're not going to
Hmm.
be happy unless we feel fulfilled. And for some of us, that is making an impact with maybe a particular person group, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it all like kind of blends together. It's not just one little thing. This is your purpose,
Yes. Yes.
that.
And your purpose is a broader, I kind of call it
Mhm.
like an umbrella. It's a
Yeah.
broader understanding. There's a lot of ways an individual can fulfill their purpose. So
Mhm.
even as a purpose coach, I'll take people through the purpose factor assessment and we begin to debrief it. They think ahead of time. The common thought is, so I'm going to take this because I'm wanting to know, do I matter? Is what I'm doing doesn't matter, and they're wondering what's next. So they
Mhm.
take the assessment and they go, okay, so this is going to tell me that I'm supposed to be in this specific line of work, or I'm supposed to do this or do that. And I said, no, 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 no. Your purpose is much bigger than even your type of work. However, you may, as you get clear on your purpose, you may find a certain type of work is going to be most fulfilling in you living out your purpose
Mhm.
than something else, but it's not going to be a specific, your purpose is to be in this specific type of work. Instead, your purpose is broader than that. When you're in retirement, and there might be our friend listening that's in retirement age right now, and they're going, okay, what's my purpose this stage of life?
Right.
Your purpose is not your career. Your purpose is not a position. It's not a title. Your purpose is what's going to bring fulfillment in your life, and that's a test of our purpose. When we're experiencing that fulfillment, we're in a spot of going, okay, I am giving the best of what I have to others. This
Mhm.
is this is a part of my purpose because I am experiencing the sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, and I think that's really key to kind of, it's going to take a little bit for us to, for a lot of people. I mean, I struggle with this too.
Hmm.
Like, what is my purpose? And I feel like it should be like this one thing, it's just
Right.
like, boom, it's this, you know, but I like how it's a general
Yeah.
umbrella. It's kind of like a feeling because it is that fulfillment type, but
Hmm.
you can do many different things to fulfill and live your purpose
Yes.
because it's bringing out the best of you and which is going to bring out the best in others. So our
Absolutely.
stages of life, our
Hmm.
purpose might look a little different
Absolutely.
because I'm
Yes.
sure purpose as a young mom, like I have a couple kids that are in that stage, is
Hmm.
very different than the retirement when you don't have the little kids at home and really you don't have anybody at home and you're like, what do I do?
Yes.
Like, like
Yes.
all of us, and it's not our job. It's not our
Hmm.
career, which
Yes.
is an identity. So
Hmm.
our purpose isn't necessarily our identity of who we identify as.
Yes. And so what I love about, just to come back to this
Mhm.
assessment, is it's really 7 tools in one assessment. So it will give you a purpose factor statement, like a purpose statement. I'll share
Mhm.
with you mine in just a second.
Yep.
Then it goes through four elements that make up your purpose. I won't get into the weeds on all this right now, but it goes through four elements that make up your purpose. Then it goes through and it depicts your core values. Your values are part of living out your purpose. And then it gives you a fulfillment statement as to how will you be most fulfilled. So
Mm.
for me, and I always have it in front of me, I have it memorized, but I have it in front of me because I love to just see it.
Yeah.
And so my purpose factor is to inspire excitement around a cause, to create shared experiences. So
Mm.
so I can do that a lot of ways. I love to inspire excitement. Every conversation is an opportunity to inspire other people.
Hmm. Yeah.
But also I love to create opportunities, whether it's through coaching or speaking, or whether it's through events that I create. And this
Hmm.
goes back, it looked different. I'll give you an example. It looked different when I was a youth pastor. I was
Hmm.
inspiring excitement around a cause to create shared experiences for young people, for teenagers, middle school, high school. But then I became a lead pastor of a church. You see, I'm still living out my purpose, but my
Hmm.
career, my vocation has changed.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it in a different way. Now, in this season of life, leading priority living and being a leadership coach and a speaker, I'm living out my purpose. My purpose really hasn't changed, but the vehicle or the way in which I'm fulfilling
Hmm.
that purpose or receiving fulfillment from it is changed along the way. And my
Hmm.
purpose isn't limited to my vocation or my work. It's even
Hmm.
outside of that. It's within my family life. It's within my greater community that I'm living out my purpose to inspire excitement around a cause and create shared experiences for people. And so each person's purpose statement
Hmm.
is a little different, but
Hmm.
it always comes back to giving you clarity, as we were talking earlier,
Yeah.
so that you can be most fulfilled.
Yeah. I love how there's different layers of it because it really
Mm-hmm.
encompasses all of us. It
Yes.
encompasses because it's not just one thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it incorporates our values, what is important to us. And then it helps direct us because it does. We don't have to just be pigeonholed into something, which we think we
Right.
are, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing how if you can look back through your life, when you kind of get past like this is purpose has to be this one thing, and it's more of a general umbrella kind of way of living, you can see how you've been living it,
Yes.
your life. And it just means that, you're just up leveling it sometimes. Maybe it's more making a bigger impact by influencing, getting more specific about maybe the people group. This
Mm-hmm.
people group was good. Like, wait, first pastor,
Mm-hmm.
different aspects. And now this leadership coaching and corporate coaching and all of that teams. And I was like, we look back,
Mm-hmm.
we have probably been living our purpose. We just haven't defined it and been
Absolutely.
clear about
And
it.
so, the old phrase that hindsight's always 2020. And so I see the aha over and over and over when I'm
Mhm.
coaching somebody around purpose.
Mhm.
And I ask them, so, this certain aspect, maybe as a result of their assessment or some of the questions or things like that. And all of a sudden I see the light bulb go on and they go, that's why, that's why I did this. And that's why I was doing this, and they start
Mhm.
to see from the past. I mean,
Mhm.
I can share with you, Peggy, it's so funny. I can share with you how my natural advantage, my natural ability that was in me, even as, I mean, my whole life. So
Mhm.
I can go back to being 12 years old and I wanted to have a 13th birthday party. Not that my parents planned my birthday party. I had an idea of the theme. I had the idea of what we were going to do. I had the idea of what I was going to rally my 12-year-old friends around as I turned 13. And what was I doing? I was inspiring excitement around a cause, creating a shared experience. And so in my teen years, as a high school student, this goes back before cell phones and all that. I
Yep.
was on the phone with my friends. I was the one that they were saying, what are we doing this weekend? Bill, what are we doing this weekend? I was the one creating the shared experience. Hey, let's do this. Let's go here. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And so you can just exactly what you're saying. You can go back even into your childhood in your adolescent years and go, oh my goodness, I was coming alongside other people, helping them in a way, serving them in a way. I was developing my purpose, even
Mhm.
if I didn't know I was. So I'll talk to people, and one of their statement might be something around inspiring excitement, and I forget how the phrase goes, but it's like helping other people make wise decisions. And all of a sudden they're going, my gosh, I ended up as a therapist or a counselor. But you know what? I was doing that when I was in junior high. People were, I don't know why everybody was coming to me for advice. And so you're like, well, you were living your purpose. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, yeah. And as you're talking, and I'm just like thinking, one of my things that I feel is my purpose that I've kind of is like to challenge others to think differently.
Hmm.
And so it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I could just like name a few things from my past that I was just like, oh, somebody probably would have called that bold or like, really
Hmm.
defiant maybe. Just yeah. But
Yeah.
it's like challenging others
Hmm.
to think different. Like there's a different perspective here. And
Yes.
so that is such a cool thing because we feel I think, at least this is my opinion, sometimes we are grasping that it's outside of us somewhere, this purpose of
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do is outside of us. No, it's been within us the whole time.
Yes.
We just haven't recognized it as that.
Hmm.
But your definition of it, how you've, untangled it for us, and that it's a broad statement that we are just living every day.
Yes.
And it creates the passion that, drives us, and it creates
Hmm.
that fulfillment that we're all craving. So,
Yes.
so wonderful. So
I
wonderful.
love how you just said that. Absolutely.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
So good.
Like,
So good.
where can people find out? It's like, this is so interesting. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm already like trying to go on
Hmm.
and, even though I've done a little bit of research already on you, but go back and just
Hmm.
like pull out more stuff. Where can people find you? Like, this is so interesting. Where can they find your book? Where can they find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I know some are just listening by audio. If you're on video, I'm holding up the book here, Priority Living,
Hmm.
7 Pillars to Make Your Life Count. Love for you to get a copy of it. Matter of fact, I want to give our listener a free chapter of the book. So if you go to PriorityLivingBook.com, you can put in your name and download a free chapter of the book right there. There's also a link. You can go right to Amazon or just search the book. If you're like, I don't need the free chapter, I want the whole book, then you go right to Amazon and put in Priority Living Bill Goodwin, and you can get either an ebook, paperback, or a hardcover copy right there. Hopefully in 2026, I'll be coming out with the audible version of it as
Yay.
well. Yeah, excited to release that. So that's there. And then my company is Priority Living Consulting Group. And you can go to PriorityLivingCG.com. And the book is on that website as well. It'll take you there. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. You find me by my name, simply Bill Goodwin. And then on Instagram, I'll give you 2 Instagram places. You can find me at Coach Bill Speaks and at Priority Living Consulting Group. Those two are the Instagram places you'll find me. And if I can add value to you with excellence, you're listening. Maybe you've got a team that you need some coaching or some leadership. I do keynote speaking for groups of all sizes, all over the country, actually all over the world. And I also do coaching. I have coaching cohorts. I got a couple inner circle groups that are starting in 26, and so I'd love for our new friend that's listening there. That's a new friend to me to reach out. I would love to connect with you and see how I can serve you and help you find your purpose. Let's get clear on your purpose. And we didn't even get into priorities, Peggy. I love talking about
I know,
priorities.
but you know
So
what? Purpose was on my mind, and I just feel like, I
I'm
mean,
so glad we
goodness,
you got to start with purpose.
you
And
gotta start with that
yeah,
because all the rest of
absolutely.
it will follow. So,
Hmm.
so sorry. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put those links in the show notes so the listeners can easily just click on that and get right to you. But like, there is so much more we could have talked about today. So maybe we need to
Hmm.
come back again.
I
But
would love to come back.
yes, we can tackle priorities. Like, we'll be all
Part
clear
two,
on our
priorities.
we'll be all clear on our purpose so then we can tackle our priorities.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we wrap up, is there anything that maybe you've left unsaid or that you just really want to leave the listeners with today?
Well, I'm also a hope strategist. And what that simply means is I love to encourage people with hope. I mean, my story is I died and I
Mhm.
and I'm here. And so I first want you to know that the afterlife is far closer than we think. And so I share that full afterlife story in the book, of course. But what I'd like to say to our friend that's listening today is your best days are still ahead. You can make the rest of this year the best of this year. And no matter where you've been or what you're going through, I truly believe that your best days are ahead. And so get clear on your purpose and set your priorities. And I'd love to come alongside and support you in that. But even if I don't, know this that you're not a mistake, you're not an accident. You have a purpose for your life, and your best days are still ahead.
Oh, well said. Well said. Thank you so much again for being here today, Bill, with me, and have a wonderful rest of the week and holiday season.
Thank you, Peggy.